outside. It's packed.
All right, hit that like. I'm worth it, I promise. About to go on the air. Here we go. What? Hold on. That could go there. That goes over here. And then this button. Hey, look at that. Hi, everybody. Guess where I was? So if you didn't notice, I wasn't on the show yesterday. We didn't have a show because I was in Houston, or as Philip Ree's brother would put it, Houston. And Summer and I, as a belated Valentine's Day, we went to the Johnson Space Center, where there are a lot of big rockets, which I think would make, lives up to the name, allegedly, of Johnson, who, if you don't know, is our Milton Berle of presidents. And the title of today's show has some meaning. I will just say right out of the gate. It would have I'm just going to say that there's a story there that I will tell at some point once we get the likes and the viewers up. We'll wait till everybody shows up before I tell the story of the NASA Nichols and the space Butterfinger. This Butterfinger from space. But first, did you know that NASA has a booty camera? They do. When you use a space toilet, let's just start right out of the gate, and then I'll talk to the chat once everybody's in here. Did you know that to use the toilet in the International Space Station takes a lot of work? It takes practice. You cannot just assume you're gonna know how to get up there and use to make big business. I think is what my friend Rob's mom used to call it. Make big business. It takes some practice. It's not the easiest thing in the world. And you've got to try a couple times, and they have a booty hole camera so that you can sit down on the thing and nail it. Of course, my pants are up. It's not a functioning test. I'll tell you what, if they let me into astronaut training as an astronaut candidate, where you get to be called an ass can, I shit you not. Astronaut candidates are called ass cans. Just saying. Speaking of ass can, this is the space toilet right here. You can see it. Oops, hold on. Get back under here. This thing. This thing. That thing right there. Hold on. Quit it. This business. That thing right there. That's the space toilet. And then it has a little camera in it. God help them. That finds your that helps you get to look in the camera. I'm looking right at the camera right there. That's me looking at the camera. That if I had my pants down, would allegedly show whether I have good aim or not. Yeah. And so astronauts, as part of their ass can training, that's right, ass can Hal reporting for duty. That's true. Chat, I love you. I love you, and I wish I could squeeze you all into one pretty woman, and if you'll stick around long enough, I'll try. But they have a sign when you're practicing that they put outside the special door that says, training in progress, do not disturb. And the training that's going on here is you just finding your butthole and the camera. That's the training. The other thing is they show you, you can learn also where all the stuff is around it, because if you do it well, it just requires a quick cleanup, and if you do it poorly, there's baggies and rubber gloves and all kinds of stuff. And then there's a real toilet in there, just in case you get all, you kind of get in the spirit of it a little too much, and you're like, wow, now I really have to go. So yeah, just saying that was an integral part of the entire trip, if I do say so my damn self. Now, there were other parts of it that were lovely, not the least of which was, of course, Space Butterfinger and the NASA Nichols, which I'm not going to tell you yet. I did pick my own seat. Hold on. I need to open this up. This is what I want as my new setup. I would just like to say this is the old RTC console that they had there, and I'm like, this looks like a dream editing setup that I would have had in the 90s. Tell me if you can feel me. Like this, look at these and the desk and the dual. And if you were recording music, you could like put the drum tracks up in the left corner, and then the main screens would be down here, and then ooh, you know. Anyways, this is the old stuff. And then Summer got to put her hands in some astronaut gloves, which is really fun. And this is Mission Control. Now, this I have to say was the highlight of the trip. And if you get a chance to go, it is if you just do the tram tour, you can go and watch this part of the tour. You go to Mission Control. They totally rebuilt it. The original Mission Control, the Houston, we have a problem Mission Control for Apollo 13 and all that stuff. That's this place. And see that ashtrays right there? Those are actual cigarettes and actual ash from the people who were there. It's their stuff for real. And if they took their stuff with them, they went on, eBay or whatever and found the equivalent cup. They hunted down all the stuff these folks had, and they put the equivalent of it on the desk. So it looks exactly like it did. And up on screen, that's a TV running the moon landing. This is the one small step for mankind moment. Yeah, they saved all of it. And that's its path as it's going towards the Sea of Tranquility and to Tranquility Base, where they overshoot it and all that shit. If you've seen First Man, it's fantastic. This is how they figured out the cameras where they were going to film this, how they would be dropped down. It makes total sense. Like, once you see this, you're like, oh, that's how they filmed it, of course. They waited till the little cameras came down and they were pointing in the right direction, and they literally waited out before they actually do the moment. And then, but anyways, they replay the whole thing from the landing to him getting out and him saying, that's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. And both Summer and I, and probably everyone else in the room, all teared up watching it. Because it was just like it was, except the people weren't there. That's the room, everything about it. What they were seeing on the screens, that's what you see on the screens, including the TV feed that they had of the actual thing. Yeah. It was just real. It was really cool. It was very cool. That was my favorite. This is the path of it. Went past Grimaldi and stuff. And I just dug Ocean of Storms, so I had to pick it up. And they pass Ocean of Storms and end up. Oh, there's us. That would be lovely. Walking around. Oh, by the way, hold on. Let me back up. I didn't show this other picture. See that flag right there? That's been to the moon twice. That flag has been to the moon twice. That's the first moon flag they took, and then they brought back the spare one that they had. They brought the spare one back, and then they took it again and planted it and replaced it with one that had been up there from a later mission. Now, I wasn't supposed to go in this room. They had these little phone booths. I know. These little phone booths. So you can see Summer's reflection taking the picture. They had these little, literal phone booths for making private calls in this space with these dialing phones and stuff. And I went up to the doors, and they were all shut except for this one. And so I opened this one, and I went in and I sat down. I was like, oh, get me a picture. Because I figured, since it's open, this must be the one that you can use. No, you're not supposed to go in any of them. And they're all supposed to be locked or whatever, but for some reason this one wasn't. And I sat in it. That's where Jim Lovell's wife spoke to the family and spoke to him, I guess, in space when they had their family calls, where she was able to talk to him, husband to wife and wife to husband. And so that's where she sat in the Apollo 13 thing. Yeah. I know. Oh, well, wait till we get to the Butterfinger and the NASA Nichols. This is the other one. So this is Valkyrie. Valkyrie is NASA's robot. And Summer and I are walking by, and we're with our little group thing that we're with, and they're running a LiDAR test on the top of it. So right in here, Valkyrie has a LiDAR sensor, and they were just basically rotating it and doing schematics and blah, 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 just running exercises with it, but it wasn't moving. And she was she was literally standing in place and lifting arms and that kind of stuff while doing the LiDAR test to see if it would crisscross, right? And I don't know why I'm gesturing in front of Valkyrie like that. Was not my intention, but we were both kind of like, hey. But they had her up on straps so that she can walk around and stuff, but she can walk freely apparently. She can't do a lot else, and she can lift about 10 pounds per arm. Although I think it's technically more than that now, but the hand can only grip 10 pounds. The arms can lift a lot. So, anyways, this is NASA's robot, and they were doing these exercises, and there's like a little line here. See what that shiny floor is? Okay, right about here, there's like double like slash yellow black tape. You know that do not cross line tape. And I, they finished their exercise and they said hi. So I asked a couple questions. And so I got all nerdy about what elements of stuff they're 3D printing on them. Are they building other parts? Cause I could see other, rotating, robot arms they had off on these other stations. And they said, we talked a little bit. I was like, how much is the LiDAR just sort of a bioptic look? Does it come just out of its face, or does it have LiDAR in the back of its head so that it can get the terrain and that kind of stuff? And it was like, primarily it goes forward right now, which is a little silly because a lot of modern robots have LiDAR going out the back, even the cheaper ones. So they've been working on all kinds of stuff. But they're going to more than likely add that. She had also a new camera, you can barely see it, like strapped to the bottom to what's her chin essentially there, that would help. They were just trying to figure out which ones would be the best ones to get the quality of data they needed. And they're like, you can take a picture with you want. And I think what they meant was you guys can turn around and the person that's with you could take a picture this way with her in the background. And I went, cool. And I just walked right up. So I have a dozen or so pictures of me with Valkyrie up close and personal. And then I was like, and Summer's like, I don't think they mean. I'm like, get over here. I'm like, until they tell us to step off the area, I'm not leaving. This was my thing. He didn't just say you can get a picture with her. He gestured like this. Oh, thanks so much, Diana Turner, super chat. Called Speaker Johnson yesterday. Thank you. Well done. Okay, so I walked straight. As soon as he went like this, I was like, oh, he means right next to it. So I whip like that. Selfie. Let's get a picture. And then we all got, the people in our group got to get pictures, and nobody else in any of the other groups, the VIP tour groups, got to take pictures with Valkyrie because they didn't have a Hal Sparks with them. Hi there. Yes. Yes, VIP means VIP. So, and I want to thank, by the way, our dear friend Carl Alessi, who may or may not be with us this fine morning. But if he is, we'll clip this out later for him. If you haven't seen the documentary, and we'll talk about that, I'll have him back on. We'll have a big NASA Geek Fest about this. But yeah, about Skylab. There he is. There's Carl. Yes. So we're in Skylab, and there you were. I was like, they have their own Carl. It's like, it's not the best version of Carl that I've ever seen, but it'll do. You know what I mean? Carl, it's, if you squint, you're in Skylab. I don't know if you had a chance to go there, but I'm as far as I'm concerned, that's you. I couldn't see a name tag on there, so as far as I'm concerned, at the Johnson Space Center in the Skylab thing, they have Carl. Well done, Carl. Yeah, it's a poor man's Carl, but it'll do in a pinch. So that was awesome. And then, of course, below Carl is oh no, that's I can't tell you the story yet. It's a big secret. And then there's the toilet, and this is, I don't know why this is. There you go. So Carl will probably know what this is from, but this is the frog painted on the side of the helicopter that picked up the Apollo 13 astronauts, the Navy helicopter. with the UDT-13, and he's smoking a cigar and holding a stick of dynamite. I gotta look this up. This is on my study list. Yeah, frogmen, absolutely, that's what it is. But it was UDT-13, whoever the hell they were, and they're the ones who went in after them and got them out of the water, I guess, or whatever. And it's just, yeah, not exactly Pepe. These sort of the opposite. You're people who actually give a shit. Yeah, I fucking love that guy. Like, I took a picture of the, of the statues and all that kind of stuff, which was great. But that stuck out to me, so I had to like grab another picture of that. And then, let's see, I forget which other ones I put in here with it. Oh, and this is another one. This is a picture that's unrelated that I made just to remind you that Tony Bobulinski lied under oath. Because that's him, and that's Mark Meadows. That's Mark Meadows, and that's Tony Bobulinski. And Tony Bobulinski's wearing a mask and a black hat, and Tony Bobulinski lied under oath. He said he didn't meet Mark Meadows at this event behind the scenes, and he wasn't wearing a mask, and he was. And there's the picture, and that's Cassidy Hutchinson's picture from video she took of that day, and that's Tony Bobulinski meeting with Mark Meadows in 2020. There you go. Anyways, I added that, and then was there one other picture? No, that's it. Okay, yeah, that's for later. Okay. So let's go back, and I'll tell the story. Everybody gather around. Of the Space Butterfinger and the NASA Nichols. Now, we went to the astronaut training facility where the ass cans show up, and we got to go to the swimming pool, which is like, I don't know, whatever it is. It's like 70,000 gallons of water or whatever. They had to double reinforce the floor so it wouldn't fall through. And they built a chunk of the International Space Station in that water, and then they practice zero gravity stuff in there. Like, it's not quite zero gravity, it's neutral buoyancy training. And then they've got 4 divers that are around them. Excuse me. Which, by the way, the divers have, that's one of the sweetest gigs ever. I'm just going to say it right now. If you're like, I don't know if I'd be an astronaut because they only take a few and all this stuff. One of the things you can do, NASA diver. Because that's the closest thing a non-astronaut's going to come to doing EVAs outside the space station or outside a capsule or any of that shit. And they're training for it all the time. So they constantly need divers. And there are 4 of them in the water with every training team that goes in there. And it's fucking great. Like, you're just watching them, and the astronauts are having, they're going through the whole thing of like being in these heavy suits that weigh 300 pounds, and they're underwater and it's soggy, and when they come out, they're trying to, it takes a little while. We got to see them. There were a pair in the water, and they came out while we were there, so it was a first for the team as well that we got to watch them come out of the water. But anyways, we go to this place, Butterfinger and the Space Nichols. So you're supposed to basically stay on the tour, and to me, the tour is, don't go in any doors that are locked or closed or private offices. But anything else, like, they let you use the bathroom. So the break room was open, and a couple of the, like, meeting rooms were open. And I may or may not have gotten a picture of a future spacesuit they're working on, which is super fucking awesome. But prototype, as it were. Yeah. It may or may not make astronauts look like Cylon Raiders, but slightly more rounded. But anyways, I'm not saying anything. And anyways, so the break room was open, and everybody was using, they're like, this is our bathroom stop, so anybody needs to use a bathroom. And I was like, I didn't have to go. So I'm walking around and looking at the pictures and that kind of stuff, and there was a room open over there. And so I walked over, and it was a break room. And it was it was just straight up break room from fucking 1972. I swear to God, there was like a coffee machine in there, and there wasn't like a coffee pod machine, just a straight up coffee machine. Like fucking NASA coffee, god damn it. And had there been a pot brewing, I'd have poured myself a styrofoam cup of coffee and drank it right there. I'd have just downed it just to say I had some NASA coffee. But So it did smell like cigarettes. Not anymore. They cleaned up that part of it, but it used to. It sure as shit used to. So, but there was a vending machine there that was just like a classic 70s vending machine, but it took dollar bills. It had been modified to use a card. And you know how they come in and they basically they cut out the thing on the old one and just shove a piece in there. And so I had I only had a $5 bill on me. That's what I said. Do they have Tang? I am Ziegfeld says, did they have Tang? I was so upset they didn't have Tang. I'm honestly on so many fronts. I mean, I'm always, never mind. I'm not going down that road. But anyways, so there was this, the vending machine was straight up, everything about it except the fact that it took bills was right out of the 70s. And so I was like, I got to get something. And so I put it in there and I was like, that Butterfinger looks like it's been there since 1975. And so I put my $5 bill in there, and I put it, and I'm waiting for the candy bar to come out, and then it comes out, and I start getting my change, and it doesn't stop. Just with the little, the little tray that's meant to be a couple of coins. It's like I hit the fucking jackpot on nickel slots in L.A. or in Vegas rather. And and so I'm reading and talking at the same time. Never read the chat and talk at the same time. It's a mistake, but I do it all the time. So who cares? And it's literally like, take, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? And I'm afraid I'm going to get caught because it's noisy. It's like clank, 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 clank. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. They're going to hear me. And they're going to come in. And so I'm kneeling in front of this machine, like finger scooping. You guys know exactly what this motion is. I'm finger scooping nickels out of this NASA vending machine, and it won't stop coming. It just fills the thing up like 3 times, and it only paid me back in nickels. $5, like $4 worth of change, and all of it's in nickels. And I'm like, crap! I'm gonna get busted over a handful of nickels. This is the worst crime spree in the world. So I'm going to, I think I've got to take that Butterfinger and all those nickels straight to Michael's and get a shadow box frame for it. So anyways, that was my true. Hi, chat room. True story. NASA's nickels and the Butterfinger from space. And I'm sure at some point somebody's like, I want to be, why is it out of chat? I put in, I should get 2 nickels back and stuff. And it's giving me, it's all dimes and quarters. What the heck's going on? I got all the nickels. I got all of them. They're all. So yeah. And I got this shirt. I bought this shirt in the gift shop. I'll have you know. And I paid for it in nickels. No, I got this in the gift shop, and it's now I think my new favorite NASA shirt. Yeah. So that was fun. I mean, there was a lot more to the trip, and I'll feel free to pick my brain about it at any of the shows. Okay, yeah, okay. Then the chat's all working and everything. So when Phil shows up second hour, I'll be ready for him. NASA nickels are 7 cents each, right? Yeah. The patriotic worm, yeah. It is very cool. Yeah. Nickelback, yes, that's right. This is how you remind me of what crimes I commit. Sorry. Okay. Anyways, that was a good time. I took lots of pictures, so I may share them on Friday I'll probably break into that. And then and now let's see. Yeah. There is let's see. Denial cookies. Okay. So I have to find this one thing that made me laugh really hard. So by the way, how much for NASA coffee? Well, I mean, they had a coffee shop inside the museum there, part of it, right? And but I guess if in the break room it would be free. I just wouldn't feel right taking it. Treva, thank you. I'm glad you love the story. It's true. It's a true story. Yeah, it is. And Summer, poor Summer. By the time we were like through that trip, like by the third room we came in, I was known as by from all the other people on the tour, the other like 4, 5 people or whatever, and our tour guide, as as a as like the guy who pushes buttons. So every time we passed something with some buttons, there had to be that there had like somebody had to go, yeah, don't touch these buttons. Don't these buttons you can't touch. You can't touch any of these buttons. I'm like, fuck. I'm like, some of this is just demo, right? I mean, obviously you can flick them. I'm not gonna hurt them. I'm not gonna like jam them. I just want to. Okay. In my defense, ladies and gentlemen, there are some on and off switches. Very clear. They're the round knob kind of up and down switches. Then there's the flat, like pinchable switches that have a grip on the top of them. Sometimes they have an up position, a neutral, and a down position. And then there are the ones that don't have a lock position. You just hit them up to make them do one thing and down to do another, but they go back to the neutral position once they've been pushed, right? So they're sort of spring-loaded, as it were. How do I pass a row of those and not know which is which? How am I supposed to... How dare you stand me in front of the gun? I get it. I'm a problem. But come on. Yeah, momentary switches. Thank you, Nick. I was trying to explain it, temporary. Yeah. And they're dead man switches, which is another thing. Those are usually pedals. But sometimes that's a thing where you're doing one thing and you have to hold on to it while you're doing the other thing with the other hand. And if your other hand comes off, this stops working, so you don't you don't ground yourself, get electrocuted, or other shit like that. Most shops have a dead man switch, a foot switch. But I mean, yeah, none of them said eject. None of them had the red cover. All right, for the record, I did not have any. I don't have ADHD. Fuck you. I'm talking to the chat. You guys are asking a myriad of questions, and I'm addressing them as I see them. That's it. I'm not all over the place. I'm all over you. What? Anyways, so the switch, some of the switches, have a red top that goes up and so you don't accidentally throw them, right? I didn't touch any of those. Just saying. I was very good. Any of the ones that had the covers on top of them, and any situation where even if I had both keys and I could put my wingspan was big enough where I could put them in both and turn them at the same time, I didn't. Okay? I didn't. All right. There you go. So everybody's wishing Boston Brian happy birthday because his birthday was in November. It doesn't matter. How about this? We are glad, Boston Brian, thank you for being here in the chat, by the way. That we're glad you're alive and you were born. How about that? It's not a happy birthday to you. It's a happy birthday to us. We're glad we get to have a happy day that you were born. How do you like that as a compliment? Huh? Also, Texas Paul, we're happy. It's a happy birthday to Texas Paul as well. So wasn't born. I see. You were found. You were hatched. All right. Yes. While you're at it, while I'm talking about buttons, yes, hit that like button, subscribe, share the show. Also, patreon.com/HalSparks. I am terrible at telling people to do stuff and anymore. I haven't done it in a couple of weeks. I've been really failing, and it shows. There's a reason why these YouTubers all say it like they've got a tick. It's because you have to. Yeah. Hal, does your mom know what you're doing? Yes. Of all people, my mom knows I'm the guy who will flip the buttons. She's been around me more than anybody. I think in those situations, especially. Yeah. My mom chaperoned on field trips. Yeah. So there you go. Now, where do we start? Oh, guys, there's so much stuff. Today, Hunter Biden is is testifying. So we should have the transcript for it by Friday. Oh, hopefully. It's going to be pretty hilarious, and they're going to be very disappointed. I expect that because of his ongoing case with Weiss and them, is that he'll plead the fifth on a couple of things because they're in the middle of negotiating those things, right? How voting in California or Nevada? California. Because my residence is still technically in California. So even though I spend a good time here, I only vote in one place. NASA official. Who launched that rocket? Thank you, Gene. Yes. And let's see. Ginger just subscribed. Thank you so much for subscribing. Kath, thanks for the bits. All the Facebook folks, thanks for liking. There's a lot of likes coming. We're getting a lot of likes from the Facebook people. We need some YouTube likes and subscribes. And again, Diana Turner, thank you for the super chat. We're at 66K. Look out. So we got it. We're watching for 66.6. We got to get a screenshot of that whenever it happens. Because that's going to be celebratory. We're getting towards that 100K. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. I'm going to get that little silver plaque, and then I'm going to have to take down my blue screen and do a real set, and so I can have it hanging in the background, so I can just go, you son of a bitch, Any reward for being 66,666? I would say a free T-shirt. Somebody has to be. Something like that. Yeah, let's fucking go is right. Now, news upon news upon news. So anyways, that's what we're waiting for. We're waiting for the Hunter Biden stuff. We will, again, I'm going to, let's see if I open up my Telegram stuff, because there's a bunch of Ukraine stuff that's happening this week. Again, my phone's right here. And I put up the where are we? Oh, because I had it. I was running the other software last time, but we called Speaker Johnson on the show. We will call him again today. I'm going to call him right after I speak to Phil. So at the end of the show, I will be calling Speaker Johnson's number and leaving another message. And I recommend everybody else doing it as well. Hold on one second. Let me see if I can. I'll bring up the other thing. There we go. This guy right here. I'm gonna try to squeeze this up. So yeah, and I'll single that out. There we go. And when you do this, by the way, I have to make a new, because I was using other software, so I'm gonna make a new text thing for us that we can have. Oh wait, no, there it is. It is here. Okay, sorry. Add the source. There we go. And we'll drag this over here. That take this guy and whoops. Why won't it move? Is it frozen? What's happening? Stay still. Got it. Move, you silly thing. I don't know. Oh, I see. That's why. Transition. There we go. And then we'll. I'm in studio mode. So boop. Take this out of here. Move this down here. That's Speaker Johnson's number. I would like everyone to write it down, put it in your phone, whatever, and be respectful, but let them number. What number is 202-225-2777? That's his congressional office. This is the Speaker's office. So again, he's a regular congressman and he's the Speaker. So the constituent number is whatever, but this is the one that actually is answered by the people who take calls about what the Speaker's stuff is. Yeah, Mitch McConnell stepping down. What a shock! All right. Does that mean I have to I got to move to Kentucky and run for office now? I knew it. Oh, and then the Bobo crime family. Yes, we'll get to that in just a minute. There we go. So that's the Speaker's office right there. 202-225-4000. So you should like I would not win in Kentucky. I think I would. I actually think I would. I bet you I could. Naked Al would get me 100K. Get me kicked off. What's Johnson's number? That's it right there. That'll be on screen as every time the chat comes up for the foreseeable future. So if you need it, there it is. And you can look up if you're ever just Googling it, just look up, Speaker Johnson contact number, and it'll take you right to the main page for Speaker Johnson. And it's actually speaker.gov is the website. You can also email from there. So here, I'll show you. Go back to the comms page. This is the lit dwerp. 7 core principles of conservatism, which we'll get into later at some point. Continuing to work to reach responsible funding and strong policy outcomes as soon as possible. Yeah, that's why you took 2 weeks off, you dipshit. So anyways, and at the bottom, there it is. Contact number is right there. There is not, insofar as I can see, an email form in there. But I would guess, meet Mike Johnson. And then, yeah, there's no email address. It's just a phone number. Media, press releases, in the news. And then the 7 core principles of conservatism, which are, quite frankly, goofy pants. Here, I'll show you. Let me shrink this down. Course 1 is individual freedom. So sovereign citizen right out of the gate. Which, by the way, this is where they'll tell you that they're free speech absolutists. And then you go, is the owner of child porn a violation of free people's individual freedom rights? They'll go, hubba. Yeah. Limited government. Yeah. Limited U.S. government. Massive support for Russian government, though. Yeah. The rule of law. That's adorable. Peace through strength. Yeah. So that's why we're leaving Ukraine hanging. That's what we're doing, to show everybody how strong we are. What do you mean? We should. Yeah. Fiscal responsibility. That's why they've almost shut down the government 4 times since they've been in office and have no. It's like trying to, their plan to land the plane is to crash the plane. Look, what happens when a plane lands? It's on the ground. That's the primary thing. Elon Musk, first principles. A plane that has landed is on the ground. Therefore, a plane that is on the ground has landed, no matter how it got there. So, every time we get in there, instead of saying, my God, we're far too high in the sky, we need to come up with a landing, pattern and land this plane safely. They're just like, plane on ground. That's basically it. Free markets. Free of what? Regulations? So we could have more Enrons and credit default swaps? You are a silly person. Human dignity. Well, obviously not for women. Human dignity? Jeez, wait, explain. Because all men are created equal and in the image of God. Important. I would argue all persons, because men being the mankind version of man is how we see it. But curious, don't you think? They jump right to that. Yeah. Every human life has inestimable, wow, dignity and value. No, I think you can kind of estimate it. I mean, like, if it's inestimable, and that's fun to say, then can't you? Then why would you limit school lunches? Why wouldn't you say, oh my God, we should do everything we can to make sure that every child has enough nutrition, for example, especially in the country we actually have control over, so that they meet their potential. I mean, you wouldn't want their potential to be foreshortened by things out of their control, you think? Anyways, and every person should be measured only by the content of their character. A just government protects life and honors marriage and family as the primary institutions of healthy society. honors marriage and family as the primary institutions of healthy society. Okay. First of all, a just government. Never mind the protects life part, because this is an addendum to it. So a just government protects life, whatever. Defense, common defense. Okay. A just government honors marriage and family as the primary institutions of a healthy society. No, it doesn't. It provides marriage licenses so you can keep track of people so that you limit the inbreeding. But it's not. Okay. The only thing that tells me is that they're planning on outlawing divorce. Let's just go there. And embraces the vital cultural influences of religion and morality. So Sharia law. Gotcha. Okay. Public policy should always encourage education and emphasize the virtue of hard work as a pathway out of poverty. Oh, is that why right-wingers on Fox are always shit-talking college? Yeah, Section 11. Father and son porn alerts. While public assistance programs should be reserved only for those who are truly in need. And then they're like, we have a very distinct idea of what truly in need means, and it's instantaneous desperation, and anything else, you're just being a lazy asshole. By preserving these ideals, we will maintain the goodness of America that has been the secret to our success, to our greatness. Wait, the secret to our greatness. First of all, what the fuck makes those things secret? What are you talking about? Wouldn't it be the key to our greatness? What did these people think that, like, Judeo-Christian values and the family structure have been things that make America great, but they've kept it quiet? We didn't used to talk about, baseball, mom, and apple pie, or what? I don't know. This is what happens when idiots try to speak with verbal flourish. Like, I'm trying to turn up the national anthem. I'm typing out our new blurb about the thing the ideal that we added that nobody knows what the fuck we're talking about. I'm the one responsible for filling in the gaps. Tickety tappity tip. The secret to our greatness. That's fabulous. Get the fuck out of here. All right. Anyways, that's on their page. Oh, it's very pompous. Yeah. Secrets are sexier. I agree. One of the reasons I'm a Mason. All right. Now. Oh, quit it, you silly thing. There is, let's see. Okay, let me jump into the Boberts of the world real quick, because we only got a couple minutes left before I jump back in here. By the way, hit the like, the subscribe, the share. Let people know you're watching the show. The like really helps. That's what boosts it up there. If you've already subscribed, just hit the like button, and it lets people know we're online right now, and kind of it tickles the algorithm in just the right spot. And I don't know, why is this? There you go. Sometimes my chat just stops scrolling, and I don't know why. Let's go back to here. This is, I have to say, let me stretch this out too. There are a lot of things I'm enjoying today. Not the least of which is on the day that, Hunter Biden is testifying, this story comes out. Lauren Boebert's teen son arrested after Colorado crime spree. Second of all, does she have a picture of herself on the back of her phone? Is that what that is? Because what an asshole. Even I don't have that, and I should. Yeah. So if you don't know, I think he and one of his buddies, who was a minor, because I think he just turned 18 or something, and the other kid's like 16 or something, were breaking into cars, stealing people's, stealing purses and bags, and getting their like bank cards and stuff like that, and trying to get money out of their accounts. And I'll show you why I think, because they haven't officially said. We know what the charges are. But we don't know what the evidence is yet. He's 22. There you go. So the other he was hanging around with a minor. Okay. Teenager was arrested on nearly 24 charges related to crime spree in the Colorado district she still represents. Police say, he's 18. That's right. 22 counts, 18 years old. Tyler Boebert was arrested Tuesday after a recent string of vehicle trespass and property thefts. He was breaking into cars and stealing shit out of them. Oh my God. It's almost like he lives in San Francisco with the Democratic mayor and the ever-climbing crime rate of the horribleness. Thank God we live in a red town which respects the Second Amendment. Therefore, these crimes won't go upon. Okay. Yeah. After a recent string of vehicle trespass and property thefts and rifle, where the Congresswoman lives and operated a gun-themed restaurant, reported Business Insider, the lawmaker's son was booked into Garfield County Jail on 4 counts of criminal possession of a financial device, which I'm fairly certain is like debit cards, like the or they stole like one of his mom's like register devices. Like he had that thing and they were using it to like make charges on people's cards, right? Tyler was the one who called 911. Really? What? You're going to be entered apprentice next week? EA, that's amazing. We got a new entered apprentice in here, though. I'm so proud. That's fantastic. Welcome, brother. Was arrested after a recent string of possession of financial device, 4 counts of criminal possession of ID documents, and a count of conspiracy to commit a felony, which is, trying to get more than $300 out, I guess. He was also charged with 4 misdemeanor counts of ID theft, 3 misdemeanor counts of first-degree criminal trespass. I guess that's how many cars they broke into. 3 misdemeanor counts of contributing to the delinquency of a minor, which, because his buddy that he had with him, who was underage, was... or was it his younger brother, and they just haven't talked about it because he's a minor, so they're not identifying him, but it was his brother, his younger brother or something. And 3 counts of the petty offense of theft of less than $300. Wait, is it going to be his like underage wife? I missed a sentence. Which one? Yeah, I'm skipping past. 4 counts of criminal possession of ID documents. Charged 4 misdemeanor. Boebert announced earlier this year she would move her campaign from the 3rd District, where she faced a tough rematch from Democrat Adam Frisch, to Colorado's 4th District, saying her family needed a fresh start after a pretty difficult year. Oh, they're just getting there. Things are just starting to get good. Mm-hmm. Feel bad for him. His mom is insane. No. When you're 22 years old, you're an adult male. You're responsible for yourself. He was never beaten by his mom. It's not his dad might have been guilty of abuse. There was the story about how he called the police on his dad, saying his dad was threatening him, and said he was arming himself, getting a gun, and he was going to attack him and all that stuff. And then she called back and said it's not happening. And then later on, she accused the same dude, her ex-husband now, of physical abuse at that restaurant because he like grabbed her wrist or something. It's like shitty, you know what I mean? And again, I don't like her, but no. You don't put your hands on your kids, and you don't put your hands on a woman. Unless, of course, she's got a knife and is trying to kill you, and it's a play Misty for me moment, or she's an absolute stranger. Then, an armed adult woman is an adult human, and therefore, she gets the Lenny Bruce cheater treatment. Pow! Right. That's the idea. But yeah, again, no excuse. I don't care. Yeah. Even though I don't like her. No, don't put hands on her. Period. He's 18. There were 22 charges. That's the clarification. Don't put your hands on anyone. You can put your hands on some people. It's never violence if it's in self-defense. Just saying. That doesn't mean you can call violence self-defense, but if you are defending yourself, that's not violence, because violence comes from the same root as violate, breaking through someone's space. Huh? Yeah. You still teach ASA? As soon as possible? Yes. Or ASA, I see. ASCAN. Do not initiate. That's exactly it, Wes. You do not initiate. Which is so curious, considering your recent posts, Wes. But I'm glad there's, hey, everybody grows. So yeah, that's her current business chat room. Yeah, Karina's like, you don't put your hands on anyone. No. You can. Yeah, I'm not against a good old preemptive strike if somebody's getting dangerous. That's okay. And if somebody's guilty of something awful in front of you and they're hurting someone else but not you, it's still not violence in that case. You make your. It's just important to maintain your ethics in the middle of all that, and then you'll be okay. This is the I, I I don't know why this is a surprise to anybody. By the way, McConnell is stepping down as the Senate Republican leader in November. I'm looking for Philip if he will be in the background fairly soon. I'm guessing if he's not already. Yeah, I have it open and audio is ready. Thank you, Andrea. So I should be able to hear him once he pops on. It'll crinkle in my ear and everyone's. You keep pointing me out, and she's going to block you again. No. That's up to you. That's based on your behavior. The Mitch McConnell, the longest-serving Senate leader in history, who maintained his power in the face of dramatic convulsions, and I didn't have anybody here to nudge me. Oh, sorry. I was doing my. Never mind. All right. Will step down from the position in November. Turned 82 last week. Set to announce his decision Wednesday in the well of the Senate, a place where he looked in awe from its backbenches in 1985 when he arrived, and where he grew increasingly comfortable in the front row seat afforded the party leaders. One of life's most underappreciated talents is to know when it's time to move on to life's next chapter, he said in prepared remarks. So I stand before you today, I stand before you today to say that this will be my last term as Republican leader of the Senate. Or am I just going really slowly? Yeah, I mean, it's not surprising. There's a bunch of Republicans that are stepping down because the party's dying, and then they're going to announce some sort of like fundraising thing for a new version of the party and blah 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 blah. It's entirely possible, but not surprising at this. It's just a matter of time in that regard. And then let's see if I can bring this up. Yeah. Let's see. Hunter Biden's testifying behind closed doors in a joint hearing of the House Oversight and Judiciary Committees. So it's both of them. It's going to be a long one. But the president's son released his opening statement Wednesday morning. Well, here it is. Let's see. This is the opening statement. Here we go. Oh, this is. How am I supposed to fucking read that in a tiny type? What are you, nuts? Good Lord. Hold on. Oop, what is that? Okay. I'm going to. Opening statement. In heated opening statement. Continue reading. According to Axios. Okay, so maybe they have it. Oh, fuck you. Axios, okay. Okay. This is opening statement. This is okay. I'm here today to provide the committees with one uncontestable fact that should end the false premise of this inquiry. I did not involve my father in my business, not while I was a practicing lawyer, not in my investments or transactions, domestic or international, not as a board member, and not as an artist, never. You read this fact in many letters that have been sent to you over the last year as part of your so-called impeachment investigation. You heard this. Oh, you read this fact. Oh, you're right. Okay. You heard this fact when I said it weeks ago, standing outside this building. You heard this fact from a parade of business partners of mine. I'm sorry, other witnesses. I'm going to try to make this a bigger. Control plus. Is that? Nope. It's not going to make it any bigger. Rats. This is, yeah, it's pretty substantial. Okay, you heard this fact when I said it weeks ago, standing outside of this building. You heard this fact from a parade of other witnesses, former colleagues and business partners of mine, including my uncle, who have testified before you in similar proceedings. And now today you hear this fact directly from me. For more than a year, your committee have hunted me in your partisan political pursuit of my dad. You have trafficked in innuendo, distortion, and sensationalism, all the while ignoring the clear and convincing evidence staring you in the face. You do not have evidence to support the baseless and MAGA-motivated conspiracies about my father because, underlined and italicized, there isn't any. You have built your entire partisan house of cards on lies told you by the likes of Gal Luft, Tony Bobulinski, Alexander Smirnov, and Jason Galanis. Ooh, Jason Galanis. We have to add him to the pile. Hold on. I don't know that we've really dove into Jason Galanis.
I hear you, buddy.
Oh, hey, there he is. I hear you. And you can hear me. And there's Phil. You cannot hear me? Audio is sent. I am sending you audio. It is going to you. Hold on. I am sending audio. It's I see my little thing moving. So whoops, sorry. I misspelled sending. Yeah. It's on your side.
No,
promise.
I don't hear you.
Okay. Something's not coming out his headphones. That's the guess. That's my guess right now. Check, check, check. 1, check 2. Checkity 3. Checkity 4. There we go. Yep. Audio's coming and going. I see it. Yep. It's there. Sorry, I'm working this out. Phil's in the background. We can hear him. He can't hear me. Hopefully, he'll work that out. Yes, I'll. It's coming your way. I promise.
How about now?
Heck, check, check, check. Hey, check.
Nope.
Check, check, hey, check, check. Check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, I'll keep reading this, and then he'll be able to hear me as I'm reading. You have built your entire partisan out of Gal left Galanis. We're gonna have to look at Galanis after this. He was arrested, right? He was the Jason Galanis sentenced in Manhattan federal court for multiple securities fraud schemes. Oh yeah, yeah, that guy. 189 months in prison for his participation in multiple fraud schemes. Check, 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 check. You hear me? We hear you. I hear you just fine, Phil. He'll get there. All right. Let's see. Luft, who is a fugitive, has been indicted for his lies and other crimes. Smirnov, who has made you dupes in carrying out a Russian disinformation campaign waged against my father, has been indicted for his lies. Bobulinski, who has been exposed for the many false statements he has made. We hear you. You want to try back? You want to load back in, Phil? Hold on. Let's see if I'll. I'm not quite sure why he would do that. There we go. Sometimes it's on their side of it. Give me 1 second. Turn this off and back on. Turn this off and back on. Check, check, 2 on. Then I go, reload, question mark. That'll do it. Maybe see. Yeah, check, check. We hear you. I see Phil's chin, and I hear him just fine. Phil sounds like me. Yeah. Pause.
It'll take about 5 minutes.
We're good. Hold on. I hear you, Phil. I will message Phil. Andrea, maybe message Phil and say we can hear him, and if he can see you on that end, because I sent a message on our end, but we can hear him. Might just be a reload. You hear him? Chat doesn't hear Philip? Yeah, not yet. All right, maybe. How about this? Let me check this. Routing table. Make sure this is fine. Yep, everything's going through there. He should be getting it. I see it going out to him. And then, yeah. He's coming back out. You should be able to hear him just fine. Yep, we hear you. We hear you, Phil, just fine. See, you heard him, right? I'm not crazy. I'm not taking crazy pills. All right, I'll finish reading this while he's doing it, and we'll try to, yeah. Let him know we can hear him, because I sent him a message on there, but I am sending audio. I can see my meter going to him. I can see movement. So, to be clear, I've made mistakes in my life, and I have squandered opportunities and privileges that were afforded to me. I know that. I am responsible for that, and I am making amends for that. But my mistakes and shortcomings are my own and not my father's, who has done nothing but devote his entire life to public service and trying to make this country a better place to live. During my battle with addiction, my father was there for me, helped save my life. His love and support made it possible for me to get sober, stay sober, and rebuild my life. As a father, husband, son, and brother, what he got in return... You're not seeing me? Oh, okay. Maybe he's being attacked by the thing. Hold on. I'm going to, just in case, I'm going to reload the page and see if that helps at all. Enable that, and then that. Just see if I'm coming back in, just to see if that helps or changes anything. Nope. Hello. Check, check, check. Yeah, this is on his end. Sorry. What he got in return for being a loving and supportive parent was a barrage of hate-filled conspiracy theories that hatched the sham impeachment inquiry and continue to fuel unrelenting personal attacks against him and me. Over the last year, Republicans have taken my communications out of context, relied on documents that have been altered, and cherry-picked snippets of financial or other records to misrepresent what really happened. Examples of this include a few references to my family in emails or texts that I sent when I was at the darkest days of my addiction. If you try to do that again today, my answer will reveal your tactics and demonstrate the truth that my father was never involved in any of my businesses. My testimony today should put an end to this baseless and destructive political charade. You have wasted valuable time and resources attacking me and my family for your own political gain when you should be fixing the real problems in this country that desperately need your attention. Thank you. Now, I have to say, I don't think the thank you is genuine. I think that's the only part of this that might be a lie. Oh, Tawada 106? You too? Well, hello, brother. You got to be a little careful saying hello to a fellow Mason while wearing a NASA shirt. It really does trigger the Alex Jones idiots. So, anyways, that's that for, it's a speed read, anyways, of his, let's see, going back to the chat, yeah. That was a speed read of his opening statement. We will get the transcript on Friday. Phil is still having issues. Check one. Check Phil. Hello. All right, I'm gonna grab this. I'm gonna copy and bring him in just in case there's an issue with that side of it and see if it helps any. I doubt. I mean, I don't know why it would, but I'll try anything at this point. We'll take this and we'll go to here and we'll do this and we'll take this and pop this in here, and so you guys can see that I'm not taking crazy pills right today, obviously. There is Phil's shoulder, and then and he's going through his settings, trying to get everything to work. But until he did it, we'll leave that. We love you, Phil. We see you. We hear you. You're here. It's his laptop settings. He's not sending audio right now. He's trying to work it out. It's okay. In the meantime, we hear him. And in the meantime, I want to remind you guys, Speaker Johnson, 202-225-4000. Call him and tell him you think it's immoral that they're trying to shut down the government again, that you were against, I don't know, just, I'm talking off the top of my head, against outlawing IVF for people trying to have babies. And also that you think they should bring the Ukraine funding and the border bill to the floor. Notice have you noticed, is it just me, that since that, since the border bill was removed from the funding bill and was not, and they wouldn't vote on it, you haven't heard crisis at the border. Have you noticed that? That the word crisis, it was everywhere for months, if not years. There's a crisis at the border. We have a crisis at the border. Hello, check. Hello, Phil. I hear you.
Okay, it's not gonna work tonight, guys.
Oh no. We don't have Phil today. Okay. We hear. Let's go. We hear you just fine. Maybe different browser. And he's getting tons of calls. So obviously he's got, yeah. Sometimes if you try it in Safari, it gets very upset. We'll see. New headphones, that'll do it. New headphones, who dis? Don't give up. It's all right. Yeah, invasion, crisis, panic. Is it just me, or has that dropped off? From chat room. Am I wrong about this? Because I've been watching these fuckers, as you have, and especially around all these. You got both of them open at the same time? You maniac. He's got two browsers open at once. We may have discovered the problem. I hear him. Yes. He sees me. And yes, I hear him. Yes, for sure. Yeah, I hear you. Absolutely. You just can't hear us. You can't hear me. Yes, I hear you. I hear you. Yes, I hear you. I hear Phil. Hold on. Wait, I have an idea. Work through me with this chat. 1 second. Sources. This is. I'm gonna make this anyways because it has to. I may need it anyways. He'll probably disappear before I get it up there. But there we go. New. Add this. Okay. I'm gonna try something just to be a dick. There we go.
What now?
I hear you. Yep. Hold on. I'm working on that part of it. Add source. There we go. I hear ya, Phil.
Try it again.
There you go. There you go. And we'll put it on Arial Black, and then we'll make it gigantic. There you go. And then like that. And then dink. There we go. And then take it out of studio mode. And then you do this. And then maybe this will help. Hold on. You think that's helping? Ground control to Major Phil.
It says password incorrect.
Oh, there you go. That I think we figured it out. Don't say the password out loud. There you go. Hang on. She's working on it. Okay, hold on. He's in there though. I don't know why he wouldn't be able to. Yeah. I can hear him in the chat room, so he's obviously not kicked out of there. He's fine. You think he can see that? Is that too much? Is that a little over the top?
Well, I don't see how.
Oh, perfect. He can't see me, so it doesn't matter. I'm trying everything, for God's sake, man. I need more cowbell. It must be the Bluetooth. I just want to keep, I'm doing this manually, so excuse me if my hand seems a little wonky. And by the way, I'm going to keep this text for the future so that when Boston Brian has problems, I can also use this to show.
Everything is closed except for this one window.
Okay.
Well, no, that's not true. There's another window open for the flip.
Yeah.
We're on Safari and
right.
Video on Chrome.
Yeah.
Keeps telling you the password's incorrect.
Dun, dun, dun. It can't be. You're in there already. Password can't be incorrect. He's in there. He's got another window open and he's got it shrunk down and it's in the. Yeah, that's what I think's happening. Yeah, hold on. I'm gonna copy the link again. Send in the link again, just in case, and he can dump out and yeah. And then try faster. That'll help. Like whap, whap. Phil, you've changed, man.
I'm on the
Phil.
I'm on the account that's 01.
Hold on, no, don't say the thing. Oh, that's why. Wrong one. He's in the wrong room. There we go. That's why. And he's not on the right. He says he's in that one, but he's not supposed to be. Hold on. He's got another window open. He's got the old link open. Yeah. But I do like the part where he was almost giving away the password to the room. That's helpful. Check, check, check. 1. Check, check, check. 2. I hear you, Phil. Phil is doing the thing he do. Yeah, I hear you, Phil. Come on back, Phil, do. Because I see him. That's the thing. I know. I don't know. Oh, yeah. He's looking at the wrong window. He's got another I guarantee this is what's happening. He's got another window open on another browser page, and it's diminished, and it's in his menu at the bottom, but I can't tell him that because he doesn't see it, and so he's coming through on one line that's still open while trying to open another line, and it's not. That's what's happening. I can tell you. I know exactly. I can see his computer with my own eyes. Right now, I know exactly what's going on. Meanwhile, I hear you, Phil. Phil! Phil, what's with all the violence, man? You've changed, Phil. Phil! Phil! Anybody else know where that's from? You have to. You have to. I mean, and Can't Stop Lying, it's cheating, you know. You and I both share like a constant and never ending. There you go. Water Goddess got it. Yeah. Phil! Give me a kiss, baby. Right. Phil! It was itching the back of your brain. That happens, yeah. I'm just going to keep doing that till you. Can you see? Oh, now he's in twice. Oh, it's just what happened with the old room. I know what. All right. God damn it. Hold on. Check. You hear me? I hear you, Phil. Oh, right. Look up.
You twice. I hear echo.
Yes, because you have two windows open. You have two windows on your browser.
I have another in.
Yeah. Yes. You have two windows open. And I think, yeah.
So we're gonna hunt it down here.
And if you close the other one, the first, yeah, it's all right. You can hear me and I hear you, and it's progress. We're good. And the nice thing is that
test.
Yeah, I hear you. You're good. I just gotta have this thing on like all the time. You got it. You're all right. How about now? Well, here, hold on. Check. Okay, yeah.
Test.
Check. There you are.
No, I'm still getting. You're coming back to me.
Yep. Well, are you still getting you coming back to you?
Yeah.
Huh. That's not supposed to happen. Hold on. Let me make sure. Okay, chat. No. Voice chat. Nope.
That? Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. Yep. I hear you just fine.
No, I can't hear you.
Ha! You know what?
Have fun with modern technology.
Yes, the miracle of how about this? How about this? Try this now. How about that? Is that better?
Test. Yeah. Now I'm not hearing myself. Great.
Excellent. All right. Hold on one second. Settle you in, and I will bring you in. And ladies and gentlemen, here he is. Phil! Hey. There he is. Hi, look at that. All I had to do was mute
technology.
You. Yeah, it's a, hey, it's a tooth pull sometimes. Now move you over because Tara moves around, and now I'll fit you into the screen. There you go. So
I don't know why I'm still in double. I've closed up everything.
I don't know either. It's very strange. But don't worry about it. It's you've got two screens open, but it's not. I turned the audio off on the other one, so you're just fine. You'll be just fine. Yeah. You're here, and that's what matters.
All the other windows. It's very, very weird.
Yes, it is.
What is happening with my computer?
I don't know. Sometimes.
Acting up on me. Yes.
Well, I would in theory. Hold on. Check for me.
Check.
Yeah, you're good. Okay. So hi, welcome to the show. Good to see you. After all that.
Good to be here.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. We have. I don't know if you know this, but I posted the Speaker Johnson's number on my show on Monday. And good. I'm going to add it again. And this is his number right up here on the top of the screen. You don't need it, but we have it.
Nope, and I called him yesterday.
Great. And I'm going to call him today after I'm done talking to you.
I'll do the same.
Yep. And our all the people in the show are going to call on the regular and just just call in and go, hey, don't like it. Bring the Ukraine funding bill to the floor. Bring, all that stuff. You can just have a list. Go, I don't approve of him not bringing the border bill to the floor. I don't approve of him bringing the Ukraine bill to the floor. Not bringing it to the floor. And I don't approve of, anti-IVF, anti-abortion nonsense. Period. End of story. I think it's immoral. And that's enough. And then call back again and again. Because I'll tell you what, no matter how much flourish you use, they always just check the box. Somebody called and they don't like what you're doing. And as long as they check the "you suck" box on the form that they have in front of them, they get the point. And they're not going to do it the more volume or expletives you use, right?
No. But
Yeah.
I did add a little extra something. I said that I you know, if as Speaker of the House and as the majority leader, that I would be also taking this into account when I decide who to vote for down ballot.
Yes.
That my local representative, if as majority leader, if you don't bring this to the floor, not only there's very little I can do. I'm not in his district,
Right.
so I can't affect a vote for him, but I can sure as heck
Yeah.
make it be known that I'm not going to vote for the Republican representative that is in my district. So
Right.
it's going to affect you down ballot, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
With
And
my
I would like.
thinking. I
Right.
don't know if they'll take that into account or not. Probably not. You're probably right. They probably just tick a box and say somebody called and was against.
Yeah.
Not bringing the Ukraine aid to bill to the floor. It's deeply cynical.
Yeah, it's gross. I mean, it's just and again,
disgusting.
yeah, there is no excuse for it. Just period. End of story. It's just sick. That said, first of all, how you doing?
Okay.
What's
I'm
it
all right.
like there? Yeah.
It's I had lunch with a friend who is an Irish guy living here and has been living here for a really long time.
Yeah.
And we talked about our joint experience of talking to people who are closer on the front line, what's called the zero line here. People who are medics, people who are logistics guys. I didn't speak into actual fighters, but all along the front line, they're saying they're running out of everything. They're running out of, in particular, ammunition.
Yeah.
And I spoke to a guy on Saturday who's out there, and he said, "Yeah, we're going to lose more territory. We're gonna fall back and fall back and fall back." But when I spoke to him, I said, "Well, how far do you think you're going to fall back? How much territory do you think you're going to lose?"
Right.
And he named a bunch of towns. Like he said, Chasiv Yar. He said maybe Kupiansk. These are all. I mean, you got to keep in mind these are. I hesitate to call them cities. I mean, they're high rise. The old Soviet style buildings. So they kind of take on the appearance of a city, but at the end of the day, they're not heavily populated locations. I mean, Avdiivka had 30,000 people before before the assault began on Avdiivka. So they're not really taking a lot of and there is no way that they're going to be able to take a town like Kharkiv or Kramatorsk, where we're talking hundreds of thousands of people. They don't have the capacity. They can't do it. This is not to say that, I mean, I'm making this point because they're still not going to win. They can try and take some more towns. They can take these kind of towns like Bakhmut or Avdiivka, but they're not going to take Kharkiv. They're not going to take Dnipro. They're not going to take the major metropolitan centers of Ukraine. And it's not good that they're chipping away at these areas. It's not good that they're gaining ground. But the Ukrainians are paying a massive price, but they shouldn't have to pay the price about what I'm about to say. But they can hold out until November. They will not lose the country before November. When hopefully the situation in the States will change. And look, it's going to happen way before that because they'll force a vote on it.
Yeah.
But this, all this talk of, we can't support the Ukrainians because it's an inevitability that Russia's going to win, so why even try?
Right.
Is false. It's 100% false. It's a Russian talking point, and it's just not true. The Russians don't have the capacity to take and hold major urban centers. And without doing that, they're just they're holding open fields and demolished towns that have been turned to rubble by the fighting.
Right.
And then in addition to that, I've been out to Chasivyar, which is currently apparently now, the next town along the way that there's talk that they might, go for. And as you go west from Chasivyar,
yeah,
and I have a vlog on this, so if anybody wants to go take a look, I made a vlog when Bakhmut was still being fought over. The Bakhmut salient is what the vlog is called. And I'll show you in that vlog, and it hasn't changed. If anything, it's intensified. They're dug in, the Ukrainians. They have defense in depth.
Yeah.
And the landscape out there is such that as you move west out of Avdiivka, you are looking at slow, kind of a sloping grade, open fields going up to a tree line, and then it drops down, and it's another sloping field up to another tree line, and this happens repeatedly for a couple.
Yeah.
It's just a repeated thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like doing Pickett's charge repeatedly, and
wow.
they're just going to get chewed up.
Right.
If they come out, and now they're going to, somebody retorted, I got into a little debate about it on Saturday. They can try and chew them up with artillery, the Russians, because they have, all the shells and the DPRK shells and all the rest of it. But at the end of the day, you got to send boots. You got to send tanks. You have to actually physically take the ground. And if the Ukrainians can hunker down in their trench lines and their defensive lines that they've been building for a long time, after the artillery barrage stops, they come out of their trenches, and those tanks or those soldiers who have to cross those open fields are literally it is Pickett's charge.
Mm-hmm.
It's that same kind of thing with that. You're walking uphill, not at a massive slope, but there's nowhere to hide. There's nowhere to protect yourself. So they're going to get chewed up. You can put a couple of anti-tank systems in those tree lines. They're in trouble. But the problem is that also they're dying on the daily. I mean, they shouldn't. They should not be dying the way they're dying. And they'll go again. I've made this point since the war began. Even if the conventional forces are defeated, there will be an occupation and an insurgency that will make Iraq look like a Boy Scout jamboree.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So it's crazy. So all this defeatism, which is leading to, we shouldn't support them because it's you can't ever beat the Russian war machine, is simply false. It's 100% false.
Well, there are a
it's
couple.
Just a matter of how many Ukrainians we're willing to sacrifice.
Yeah, it's interesting that the way the Marjorie Taylor Greens and the rest of them, the what I would call the faux peacenik crowd, try to use it as like, how many Ukrainians are going to die before we try to get everybody to the table for peace? And it's like, the curious thing is like, how many are you going to kill to force them to make peace with their assaulter? That's my question. How the fuck dare you? Do you empty their guns in the face of apparently a never-ending supply of munitions from North Korea and Iran and Russia itself, and then say that somehow it's the Ukrainians' fault for dying in the face of that? And at what point are you calling for... None of these assholes are calling for Russia to just get the fuck out. Hashtag GTFO. But there is a really curious thing that is happening, and we'll address this in just one second, but CNN's running this article. According to them, this is a Stephen Kalinson article. There's a simple reason why many Republicans will snub Ukrainian President Zelensky's desperate plea for billions of dollars. Sending more taxpayer funds to a war on the edge of Europe is incompatible with the America First creed of a party dominated by Donald Trump. The previous and possibly future commander-in-chief's position is countered by Joe Biden. And so they see it as a political wedge where, sending... basically, they're using their fiscal conservatism as an artificial cover for isolationist moves, and the sort of war weariness of the American people to actually, which is, by the way, the same thing that gave us Rwanda. the same war weariness about the first Iraq War and H.W. Bush and the Iran-Contra talks about freedom fighters and paying people and one man's freedom fighter, blah, blah. That's what led us to everybody turning a blind eye to Rwanda. That's what happened. The American people had no stomach for it, and politically it was untenable for us to, join in a big peacekeeping mission and stop that slaughter from happening. And hundreds of thousands of Rwandans died because of that. And that's a similar situation because the Republicans will come in, do wartime adventurism. Trump never got us out of Afghanistan. He fought all he wanted in Syria until he handed over a base we had to the fucking Russians. So they don't have any problem with, engaging in all these kind of cryptic battles all over the fucking planet. But as soon as a Democrat gets in office, it's like, we got to go, this is too much. It's none of our business. And they move back to this isolationist stance, and it's horseshit. So the other thing, I think they're using it as a cloak. Now, one of the other thing you were talking about, this tactic that the Russians are using, which the Ukrainians, I think, have been calling it the Black Swan Offensive, which is this really weird process where they have just guys in buggies driving across open ground, trying to say, I took this trench all by myself, and then now follow me. Or if they come to get me, you guys, they end up bombing their own soldier, like with artillery, because the Ukrainians try to take him alive. So now the Ukrainians can't even take these guys as POWs, even though they're by themselves in a trench, because it will end up getting them killed. So they just drop a drone bomb on the guy and move on.
Yeah.
And it's not like he's waving a white flag and they're killing him anyways. He's literally just like hunkering down there and radioing and thinking, okay, if they see me, they're just going to come get me because I'm alone. And then when the soldiers come to get him, then the Russians open fire on their own dude. And God knows what they're telling these fucking assholes to go there, because I guess none of them are reporting back as to what they were promised in return for this stupid suicide mission. But they're calling it like a black swan tactic.
Right.
Yeah.
They don't care about their own soldiers. They've shown that repeatedly.
Right.
So, it's bad out there. It's not good. It's really not good. And we could change it very quickly.
Yeah.
If we decided to. And it's the fact that Johnson is not putting it on the floor is it's really reprehensible. And
it's criminally negligent homicide is what it is. That's what he's doing.
100% is. And it's also doing Putin's bidding.
Yep.
We're seeing divisions within the alliance now. The Europeans are, increasingly questioning whether or not, America is an ally that they can rely upon, which is exactly what Putin wants.
Yep.
His whole strategy since the beginning of this war, when Zelensky didn't run away and let him, march down into the center of Kiev, was to wait out the alliance and eventually that, the democracies, being the fickle, feckless, in his opinion, systems that we are, that will tire of it. There'll be protests and divisions and cracks will happen. And it is it's kind of playing out that way. I for one, however, I think eventually America will get back on the right track.
Agreed.
Ukraine will not fall, as I say, before either you can force the vote onto the floor or even pushing as far out as November, although that would be catastrophic. I mean, the level of death and destruction, if we have to wait for the Republicans to be ousted from all branches, legislative and executive, is unacceptable, because you're going to have a lot of dead Ukrainians, and that blood will be on our hands.
Yep.
But Ukraine is not going to lose this war. It's simply not. It's by sheer survival, just by being there being a country called Ukraine, they win. They can take everything the Russians can try and take everything east of the river, but eventually the Ukrainians will rally back, and they will take it back, because after November, Trump is screwed.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's every chance in the world that the House is lost to the GOP. But it just means more dead Ukrainians.
Right. Well,
but they're not going to stop fighting. They can't.
This is an article from Forbes, but they're talking about, like Trump is always screwing up World War II versus World War III and all this shit. But there's a lot of similarities, and I'm sure you've talked to Boston Brian about this. You and I have spoken about the very real kind of old-fashioned war fighting that has to happen no matter what when you want the land you're claiming. Because that's the big difference. There's a huge difference between, say, the U.S. and Japan, for example, when you had, an emperor controlling almost a cult-like following in the military, and the war crimes that the Japanese were involved in China, and our fighting their pilots there, and what we were looking at in terms of a populace that was, was aligning with the Nazis for world domination. There was eventually going to be a fight between the two of them, and they were working that shit out. Us bombing them from a distance. And because we weren't going to claim Japan for ourselves. That was never the goal. As a matter of fact, unseating the imperial structure was really the goal of it, not killing the Japanese people in mass. So even nuking them was specific to these areas. Whereas when you want the ground you're taking, and you're like, this is going to be our land, it kind of limits what you can do with it. Because if you want it to be farmable, you can't drop your depleted uranium all over the fucking place without a giant cleanup afterwards. You can't nuke the place. You can't destroy the infrastructure entirely, the waterways and if you're going to, because the rebuilding of it is just too much. And so if it wasn't for the us outlawing biological weapons, the Russians would have just gassed everybody and kept the buildings. Thank God, there's that limit on it, because they still have, once they have this land, they still need to trade with other people is the goal. So you just got to kill 1-to-1. You got to just fighting on the streets and in person, vehicles full of people driving across open land, being shot at and shooting back and shit like that. And so they're talking about this in World War II.
Placing the flag in a pile of rubble.
Yeah. And saying, this is ours now. Right.
This pile of rubble is ours.
So this article in Forbes is talking about, in World War II, Japanese troops often resorted to human wave attacks that they hoped would overwhelm Allied troops. The Allies labeled these attacks bonsai charges and responded by opening fire with machine guns and mortars. This is happening every day in Ukraine from the Russian side. 80 years later in Ukraine, Russian troops are resorting to similar tactics. The difference now is that Ukrainians are running out of ammunition, mostly owing to Russian-aligned Republicans in the U.S. Congress continuing to block U.S. aid to Ukraine. Infantry first, quote, meat assaults are nothing new in Russia's wider war in Ukraine, but the tactics are evolving, noting the Ukrainians' desperate shortage of artillery ammo. The Russians, and that's the difference, by the way, between they have plenty of rifle ammo, they just don't have the artillery ammo to knock back the vehicles full of people, is the idea. Mm-hmm. Noting Ukraine's desperate shortage of artillery ammo, the Russians are betting that back-to-back waves of troops riding in or on infantry fighting vehicles can deplete Ukrainian firepower faster than the Ukrainians can deplete Russian manpower. I gotta say, maybe they think so, but they also thought they could take fucking Kiev in 3 days. This is fucking stupid. And even if they get close, I was just watching this morning before the shows. I'm checking in as I'm in the car coming from the airport, because we were in Houston yesterday. I'm in Dallas this weekend. Crazy pants. By the way, Nerd Hale in Dallas at the Gaylord and this weekend if you're in the area. Texas Paul, I think, is going to come down and visit. So if you ever want to meet Texas Paul and see Nerd Halen, it's your time, Dallas. So, anyways, as I'm coming in, I'm looking on the Telegram channels of these armored personnel carriers from Russia just driving across minefields and blowing up. They had two of them blow up simultaneously because they were like swerving to avoid where they thought the mines were, and they both went and just blew up in the same moment. It's just horrible. They're not going to run out. And the Pentagon, this is on CNN, Pentagon considering tapping the last source of Ukraine military funding as Congress stalls on additional aid. The Pentagon is weighing whether to tap into the last remaining source of funding it has for military aid to support Ukraine's war effort against Russia, even without guarantees those funds will be replenished by Congress. Multiple defense officials told CNN. And that's the thing that they have to do. They go, this money has to be, it's got to be allocated to be replaced before it can go out the door. And what they're saying is, this is an emergency. We're going to send it ahead. And if you fuckers don't replenish these funds, that's on you. And they're getting there. That's where this is at. And they're going to do it. That money is continuing to go out anyways. I have a feeling that, like, again, I believe in the rope-a-dope. I don't believe anything a military tells me overtly. I think the tactics tell you what's happening. And it's not like the Russians are breaking through on any of these major lines.
No.
Avdiivka.
They've opened up a bunch of new areas along the line where they're doing offensives, but no, they're not. They're
breaking
not
through.
going to have a major breakthrough.
No,
they're not going to have a major breakthrough. There's no way.
Yeah.
And then the Europeans are also kind of stepping up. I mean, I guess today the von der Leyen, the head of the European Parliament, saying that while they weren't ready to release the 300 billion, apparently there's talks of the interest on that 300 billion, which is still a significant sum, that will be sent to Ukraine or in the form of arms. So, this is a far from a done deal, even though our negligence, our dithering, and frankly our fecklessness, and the fact that we are so clearly compromised. There are Russian agents in America who have certain members of our political class and our media class, and they have
by the short and curlies.
Yeah, they've infiltrated all sorts of walks of life to implement influence over what we do as a nation. I mean, the sooner I still do not understand why it's so hard for Americans to wrap their head around the idea that we're already in a war of sorts. It's an information war, but we're already involved in a war with Russia. They are, while they're killing people here, and I hasten to add, because when I say to my Ukrainian friends and associates and people that I encounter, I would never equate these two things as being the same, because here people are physically dying. Their bodies are being attacked. In America, it's our body politic that is being attacked. And make no mistake about it, there are active Russian military measures going on right now throughout the West, and in particular in America. Why we keep, there's this whole thing on the Republican side where they say, oh, Russia, 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 this very dismissive thing of, oh, Russia, Russia, Russia. Well, yeah, Russia, 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 motherfuckers. How many times do we have to find spies or people who have clear compromise or who have been, been put in compromised positions? I mean, the head of the FBI's Northeast Bureau, right, in New York. He was found to have taken money directly from the Russians. We really, 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 it's long past time that we need to wake up and recognize we're involved in this. There is an attack going on, that the Russians are not just fighting in Ukraine. They're fighting on a number of different fronts in a number of different ways: psychological warfare, information warfare. We can't stick our heads in the sand and say, oh, it's happening. It's happening over there, and we have we have no cause. Yeah, we have cause. They're in our Trump is compromised by the Russians. We know this. It's not that hard to figure out. You see him. Did you see this thing with the Australian former prime minister?
I'm not sure which.
Okay, so Turnbull, the former Australian, who I'm no fan of, but regardless, he said he came out on Australian television and he said, I've been in a room with Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin, and it's like the 12-year-old boy who goes to the high school and gets to meet the captain of the football team and is just, doe-eyed and like, oh, you're my hero. And then the whole attitude of Donald Trump towards Putin is this, little Renfield kind of, whatever you want, master, I'll do whatever you request of me. And then when Putin tells Trump, don't interfere and, do whatever you can to interfere with Ukraine support, and Trump tells Johnson, we're just basically taking orders from the Kremlin. And it's not far-fetched. I mean, I know that there are those out there who would say, this is a conspiracy theory. I've studied this place for a very long time. It's and even those who haven't, it's not complicated.
No.
Trump is compromised. Right. He is compromised.
He wants to be fucking compromised. Like listen, go look at any fucking interview about him, like where he spoke to Vladimir Putin before he got elected even. Like, he just wants to crawl up this dude's ass and take a nap. And then after he became president, he's like, I was friends with him before this, and he's my buddy, and he's a tough guy, and I'm a tough guy, and we'll be tough guys together. And we'll be involved in this fucking tough guy cosplay, to try and break apart NATO, where I'll look like I'm on the side of Europe. I'm trying to fight Nord Stream, but it's going to go through anyways, but I'll totally stop it for a while or whatever, which he didn't do, and that's all bullshit. And like, even the pause on it was already built. Like, it's just dumb. And then, Biden comes in and goes, okay, well, if you guys don't, if you start moving people out of the eastern part of Ukraine, we'll start allowing that to come back through and stuff, but you still can't get insurance for it if anything happens to it. But we'll let you start using it, and then they attack, and we're like, okay, well then fuck you, because we knew that's where you were headed. So like, but now you've got all these people whose debts have been paid off in the United States by the Russians, and that stuff. Was like, it's hinky as fuck, and anybody who isn't is heading, and the Republican Party seems to be heading for the exits. Or maybe they were softly supported by Russia for a while, but not all in. And so rather than do the Kremlin's bidding and get too much attention from the NRA money they had rolling in from Maria Butina and that crowd, they'd rather, like McConnell, like just bug out and retire early so that they're not important to the fight anymore.
Yeah, GOP congressman or congressperson after GOP congressperson is openly saying, I'm not going to seek re-election.
Yeah,
which I do think is directly connected to the foreign aid bill, and in particular Ukraine, because now they can vote their conscience. If they're not beholden to the crazy electorate, they can actually vote their conscience. We just need to get it on the floor, and the fact that it's this difficult to do. I mean, it drives me to distraction. The fact that this crazy, you know, I am Moses, God spoke to me and this is my role.
Right.
This Johnson is the one guy. There's one man who is because they'll pass it. There's not a doubt in my mind that if it hits the floor, it'll pass. So there's just one guy doing the bidding of his God Emperor Trump, who in turn is doing the bidding of the man in the Kremlin. And you know, Johnson is a disgrace. He's an utter and complete disgrace. He should be removed.
Right.
He should.
Well, but again, that's what he's there for. From a Republican standpoint, that's what he's there for. He's there to be traditionally disgraceful. Like this whole like anti-establishment bullshit that they sell to everybody has strange bedfellows across the spectrum of people who think that, you know, that there's such a thing as the military-industrial complex or big pharma or any of those things, like these broad fucking stupid blathery titles for shit. Instead of recognizing there are competing interests across the board, and who manages and who's in charge of these things actually fucking matters. That's a complex look at, you know, at dealing with any of these kind of things. It's fucking ridiculous. And so it's easy. It's easy. I mean, if you're RFK
Oh,
Jr. or you're fucking Marianne Williamson or if you're fucking, any of the tankies that we talk about, all you got to do is walk out and go, there's a group of people that are all conspiring together in the background to destroy the thing. Oh, maybe there isn't, and everybody goes, yeah, probably, there's probably, if I'm not a part of it, it must be a giant conspiracy. Like the ego of these motherfuckers. And to me, that's gonna. Oh, thank you so much, Edward. He says Philip Ittner is right on. Edward just mentioned that you were, which I completely agree.
it's
so
frustrating.
Two little things, because what I like to do is bring what I think you do it very well, and people should go to philipittner.com and and watch his vlogs and his new documentary that came out, which we will talk about as well, because we have to talk about that. Yeah.
Well, no, it's my new podcast that I wasn't able to talk about on Saturday. I can.
Oh, the podcast part of it. Yes. So yes. Okay. Cool. So yes, we'll talk about. We'll link that up and let everybody know the things for that before we split today. I want to make sure people know about that.
It's not quite ready yet. What we're doing is we're building the studio.
Great.
But the intention is to it's something I've been toying with for a while, and I just decided to go for it. So
great.
We're gonna turn an office space. There's a commercial space we're renting. I've got a bright young Ukrainian journalist working with me. We're gonna try and get like Ukrainian voices, and then also do remote interviews. Try to put stuff out and try and keep this on people's radars. But it's going to be called On the Edge.
Mm-hmm.
Which for those of you who saw my Saturday vlog,
mm-hmm.
Ukraine is actually called the origins of the name of this country, Ukraine, on the edge. Crane is actually, it's an old dead Slavic language, so it's disputed whether it's edge or shelf or like a nation or. But anyhow, it's basically borderlands. So we're going to be talking about, how important this is because it's a borderland situation. Whichever way it tips will affect either side of that border. Right. So that's our intention. So I'm excited by it. We'll see how it goes. But anyhow,
yeah. Anything I can do to get the word out, I will.
We'll absolutely.
But I think what you try to do when you're discussing these things is to give somebody a piece of information they might not have to factor into their own decision making about this kind of stuff. And I think famously, most people are aware of my experience with China, where I have brought in kind of a perspective that you don't hear very often, specifically about this, right? That maybe surprises people that they had no idea this whole thing was going on in the background. Now, here, let me give you an example of that. So this is, if I may, let me open there you go. China has a thing called Huawei Pay, which is the Huawei phones and all that kind of shit. And they, you can kind of like through WeChat that, you link your bank card to it through this, through to WeChat through Huawei Pay or one of the secondaries. So it's very convoluted and it's kind of shitty, but that's how it works. Is that you can either have a bank account that hooks up to Huawei Pay and then to WeChat, or you can go straight to WeChat, or you can go straight to Huawei Pay and then it references off of WeChat to your Huawei Pay. It's a little convoluted and annoying, but people do it for different reasons. Anyways, point being, cash back and all that. Huawei Pay has been available to Russians for the last year and a half or so when they got kicked out of the SWIFT program and all that shit as a way of doing international pay. And the Russians misused the privilege like a motherfucker. So they basically just, all in, not saying the Chinese deserve any sympathy for being a part of this, but they got wise to it a little late, and they're worried that Huawei, which has enough trouble in the U.S., much less Canada, and is increasingly having trouble in Europe, is going to be shut down because of international sanctions, because Huawei Pay became effectively another way for Russians to launder money out of the country. And we're not talking about little bits, like individuals going, fuck, I got to get my money out of the country. So they're shoveling out of through Huawei and then buying stuff, you know, and then reselling it on eBay in the United States, which is, I'm not kidding how they do shit. Fuck, they use like Roblox dollars and fucking like Call of Duty points and all kinds of shit as shells to buy and sell things on the market through, like, it's amazing, right? But Huawei, you know, was one of the ways that, like, you know, if you want to buy stuff from us, you can just kind of do that. And since it transfers into yuan, we're okay with that. And then they just started, like oligarchs started going, oh, I'll just move $1 billion through that then. And China was like, wait a fucking second. You know, this is so you could buy shit we have too much of here. That's all we care about. We're just Temoing you with Huawei Pay, you dumb motherfucker. We're using you. You can't use us, damn it, because you'll get us kicked out of, you know, you'll get Huawei Pay sanctioned and not be able to buy or sell shit throughout Europe. And that's how we pay our operatives in Europe who run their secret Chinese police stations and shit like that. I'm not kidding. So, anyways, that stopped working. Huawei Pay all of a sudden stopped working in Russia. This is about like in the last couple of weeks, because they were like, you know, the Moscow Times said the restrictions may result of U.S. sanctions against Russia's national payment card system, which processes all Union Pay card transactions in the country. So Union Pay is their way of doing it. The irony, man, did they fucking use all of our left-wing words like a motherfucker over there? They just call everything's got a progressive label on it and couldn't be farther from the truth. It's hilarious.
They know exactly what they're doing.
Exactly.
Again, they study us more than anybody on the planet.
More than we study ourselves. Jesus Christ.
More than we study ourselves.
Oh my God.
I mean, they are obsessed with us.
All right, so this is my favorite part of this whole story. So this comes out, and then there's a weird leak of Russian documents immediately after that Russia is preparing for a Chinese invasion. A nuclear strike scenario was practiced in case China attacks Russia. So after this, China shuts down Huawei Pay for Union Pay members because they're part of the U.S. sanctions setup. And so Russia's response is, oh yeah, well we know you're planning to attack us and we're going to nuke you. So they released this plan that they had from 2008 to 2014, 29 secret military files compiled during this time that were planning for how we're going to blow you up if you try. And our new plans are even more precise. Yes, and Russia is ass deep in Bitcoin. Absolutely. Who just said that in the chat room?
That's all they've got. That's all they've got is their nuclear cudgel
threat. Yeah. We're going to... Yeah, if you don't watch, you better watch it, or we're gonna nuke you, or you know, and we don't care if we die in the process. You know, God damn it, I think it was Spies Like Us, which is a very underrated movie, in its serious comedy. Because I got to tell you, like you watch that movie again, and you look at the sort of Cold War back and forth, and the guy like, hi, Bob Hodges, U.S. consul at Karachi. That guy, like, who turns out to be a Russian spy later on.
Turns out,
but they all look like you know, Ed Begley Jr. Like they all look like super American. Hi there, I'm an American. How you doing? Is it right on the fucking nose?
Look at the guy. Look at the guy who was out in what is it? Former KGB guy, Belitsky, I believe. Belatsky.
Yeah.
You know, who was look, okay, go back to pop culture. You know, I haven't watched it, but I'm aware of the Americans. I haven't watched it because I live it.
Right.
When I consume entertainment, I'd rather be entertained, not you know, do more work. But I mean, there are sleeper cells. They put them in America because they're obsessed with the Anglo-American alliance. And it goes back to their competition with the Brits and then subsequently with us.
Mm-hmm.
They are constantly, trying to find ways to undermine us. Right. And it has not stopped. I mean, Khrushchev back in 1955 saying, we will destroy you from within. We don't have to, we will destroy you without firing a single shot.
Turn your enemy's strength into a weakness, and turn your weaknesses into strength. And so what you do is, if you have a very authoritarian, dictatorial society, talk about comrades and people and the People's Party and the people of the party and the union and use all those fucking words when you discuss your kleptocratic, oligarchical, dictatorial regime all the time. Just flip it. Just use all the language that bait these dumb Kucinich motherfuckers, bless their hearts, into backing you because I like unions. You like unions.
They don't believe in anything. They just want chaos.
They just use the label, right? Yeah, it's like slapping a water label on a bottle of vodka and expecting it to solve your dehydration problems. I mean, that's really what they're doing. It's fucking crazy. But
it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. It's going to as we get closer and closer to November, it's going to get worse.
Here's one of the So here's one of the best examples, and I can't reiterate this enough. The number of Republicans talking about American citizens who were censored by Twitter, who have no fucking idea if those accounts are in the U.S. or of the U.S. or Americans for real or anything. They're not hearing from fucking constituents. They're just seeing names like, I am Joe from Ohio getting kicked off of something and just assuming, that's a real dude. Why? Because he says so. Look, he says he's got hashtag MAGA in his thing. Dude, that's a fucking bot. Twitter, ask Twitter. They'll tell you. They'll tell you the IP addresses in fucking Macedonia. But it doesn't stop them from going on and going, all these American patriots are being censored because they don't believe that they're real or something. Like they're fucking fake. But it benefits the Republicans, so they'll go on. Yeah.
Well, and we have a major issue with Musk.
Yeah.
We got to do something about that. We have to really reassess what's going on with him, because just today there's all this information that they're not even hiding it anymore, that Starlink is in Musk's satellite internet system, is it's being openly used by the Russians to kill Ukrainians, to access drones and kill Ukrainians. It's Musk. We have to. It's hard because you don't want to make him a martyr. You don't want to. The man has the right to engage in business, as loathsome as he is.
But security, I would argue, all of his
issue here. Now.
All of his security clearances,
contracts.
Yeah,
all of his security
those have been walked back a lot. I will say that. Say that, he's got right now. He has NASA contracts and that kind of stuff, and he's got the ability to send satellites up in the air. But the U.S. Pentagon, the DoD, NSA, he could. All right, here's a good example. He wanted to court right wingers. Ironically enough, he wanted a border contract. He wanted to put his sensors and use Starlink as one of the ways that we digitally scan the border and all this stuff. And the irony that Johnson and that crowd don't trust technology, and even Trump rails against it as a way of handling immigration, is that he doesn't want to see them. He wants to mount 50 cals on the top of a giant fucking wall with Donald Trump's fucking face painted on it. So that not anything short of that is treason or some shit. So they're not going to sign on to those. But Musk wanted those contracts. He wasn't going to get them, even if Republicans would fund more stuff at the border, because Democrats aren't, and the White House aren't allowing him to have that contract, because it means they've got direct access to the computers that deal with our border security, and that in and of itself it's too secure for him. Yeah. And whereas the NASA stuff, look, we've been using Soyuz for a long time. We literally have Russian agents and Russian ships going up and to and from the ISS and all that stuff. So we looked at all that stuff when I was at Johnson yesterday. And so we're good at being able to firewall that shit from what you can see and what you can do while you're up there and who has access to what. So that's not a fear. SpaceX is never going to fuck with our national security in that regard. But he's not going to get any of the other shit that, say, Boeing and all these other companies have. No. He's just not going to, because nobody fucking trusts him. Yeah.
Nor should they.
Yeah.
Nor should they. I mean, he is
Mm-hmm.
he is a very deeply troubling individual, and the fact that he runs the world's largest social, network, where a lot of people get their entire information base comes out of, Twitter.
Right.
It's not okay. I can't wait. As soon as I can get off of that platform, I'm getting off that platform. The only reason I use it is because of it, from my direction going out, I can, improve my audience share, basically, in essence. So I can make people aware of what I'm doing. But I gain no benefit from information coming from that source. It is completely polluted now. And he is, and then there's the argument that he's doing it on purpose and all the rest of it. But the information war is alive and well, and it is, you get a lot of bang for your buck if you're the Russians, because they can't win on the battlefield, but what they can do is they can erode our unity, our intent. They can confuse us. They can pull the rug out from us, so we don't know where we stand. And they're doing all of that. And Twitter is part of it, and infiltrating our politics and our body politic is another part of it. But the fact that we do not have an open discussion happening in the United States to the degree that I think it should be at, is troubling. Because how many Russian spies do we have to catch?
Right. Well, it's it's like my thing. I'm like, how many of these motherfuckers got their start in Russia? It's very strange at a very troubling time. Like Matt Taibbi. Again, you know how many fucking countries there are in the world where you can be an upstart expat talking about shit? And that's where he went. That's where his funding came from. And then ever since then, the whole goal has been go back to America, pretend you're on the left, pretend you're on the side of, unions and anti-war and anti-imperialism, and basically just settle in and write a bunch of shit that people like me and more than likely people like you would read it, credulously at the time and go, all right, this, being what it is, I agree. I don't think we should be in Iraq. That makes sense to me. And then at one point, just fucking pull the rug. And the idea is eventually America bad all the time and try to undermine everybody's faith in the country, period. Not just bad. It's not about a bad president versus a good president. It's now about the idea of having a president is the problem.
Yeah.
That
this concept, this American project, this idea of liberal democracy
is a failure. Yeah.
Is a naive, false construct. And, all we are is a bunch of hypocrites.
Yeah.
We're just a bunch of hypocrites because we don't, live up to the standard that we ourselves make for ourselves. And you know what? The most insidious part of it is, we don't always live up to our expectations.
Right.
What's the, I don't know how many times I have to say this. The alternative that is presented by the Russians is worse by, a multitude of factors. It's Alexander Dugin, the philosopher behind kind of, or at least him and his ilk were behind this kind of Putin regime, this mentality, this what's called the Z mentality in Russia.
Right.
Yeah. Is openly said about 2 weeks ago, and we've talked about it already, but I'll mention again for those who didn't hear. The guy has openly said that the concept of human rights, it was created by this Masons and liberals. He said, he uses, by the way, also, since we last talked about this, I've read up a little bit more on this whole thing when it comes to Dugin. He's just replacing Anglo-Saxon with Mason.
Right.
That's their big conspiracy theory, is that there's the Brits are behind everything.
Right.
The monarchy and the kind of the ruling class in Britain. So he's just replacing that with Mason. So, but he's he's openly said that human rights are false. That's the alternative that we are being presented with. It's a very real, serious.
Oh my God! Well, it's like
issue.
the Michigan voters that voted uncommitted or whatever in the against Biden or whatever. Everybody's flipping out about it. I got news for you. Either they weren't going to vote in the first place, they showed up to do this particularly, or they're going to vote for Biden and they were just making a point. Because ultimately, the alternative is a guy. There's one other alternative. It's very possible that some of the Muslims that voted for that or whatever are actually Trump voters who liked his Muslim ban because to them it was a Shia ban and they're Sunni, and that that the Shia countries being the most directly violent, the Iranian-linked ones, they're willing to vote. They liked his Muslim ban because his Muslim ban targets the Shia countries more than the Sunni countries, and they figure they can get their family out. So fuck those people. That's the other thing too. It's a civil war vote.
I could see that happening.
Yep,
yeah,
that makes. I mean, for the ones who make it to the United States and actually settle in, you're talking more Sunni than Shia anyway. So they could go, yeah, he keeps the bad ones out. Like, who gives a shit? But it's not because of solidarity with their fellow Muslims on a blanket sense, like Yazidis and fucking or Coptic Christians would be absorbed into the Christians in the United States, evangelicals who pretend to care about those folks. That said. I think most of them, like the idea that they would somehow go, I may vote for Trump. Okay, you're going to vote for the guy who literally wants to stop all Muslims coming in. And I got news for you, is going to round up a bunch of people who he thinks are here on resident visas or permanent resident visas or the like, which is a lot of these folks, or even some of the Afghans that we accepted and that kind of stuff, and you don't think they're going to go too? Right? Like that, for fuck's sake. And the other thing is like, the other thing is like, I'll take how Trump treats Mexicans and Venezuelans and Guatemalans over how Biden is handling a fight between two other countries that we don't actually have, control over. We don't genuinely have control over. We have leverage, maybe, but control, no. We do not. And so basically what they're saying is those voters in Michigan were saying, I don't know, maybe I'll go with the way with Trump rounding up 11 million people and forcibly ejecting them from the country, dreamers and all, because I think the U.S. shouldn't give Iron Dome weapons to Israel. That's it. That's what they're saying. They're basically saying, fuck the Mexicans. It's an amazing, like the idea that it's somehow not racist is crazy. Because there's not a situation where you can look at what Trump plans to do and go, it's not really racist. It's absolutely, the roundup, believe me, if somebody doesn't have an accent when somebody knocks on their door, they're not going to be the first one in the van. Get out of here. So, real quick, because we're at the end of the show, the podcast is going to be called On the Edge.
It's going to be called On the Edge. We hope to have our first episode out probably mid-March.
Okay.
It's going to take a little bit more time to set up the studio and get everything organized. Try and bring you some, notable names, people who really are, and then also just your average Ukrainian. But also, I want to talk to people who are influential and who are making decisions that are affecting the course of the war, whether that's here in Ukraine or, abroad. I'm hoping to, I won't say any names yet because I don't want to spoil anything, but I'm hoping to get some people who are movers and shakers, and who we can really get into talking about the course of this war, what it means, how things are going. But as I say, also to include,
right.
Just your average Ukrainian voices. But, it's the thing is, and it has already happened. What I predicted would happen was that a bunch of people flew in here, a bunch of news organizations flew a couple teams in here for the 2-year anniversary of the beginning of the war, and they're already gone. They've already left. So there was this hype, you may have seen a lot of Ukrainian stories in the last week or so, but those teams are already leaving. Those news teams are already leaving, and they're not going to cover this war. They're not going to cover this country nearly as much as they need to, and it's sadly going to be up to kind of independent citizen journalists and what have you. This is not as a blanket statement. There are still
Yeah.
organizations that have people here, but they
Well,
flooded
the
this
iron.
place for the 2-year anniversary, and
Sure.
now they're already gone.
Respectfully, ironically enough, as someone who pre-Ukraine invasion, this was not one of my, an area from which one of my well springs of knowledge flowed, nor would it be. You have a tremendous amount of experience in this part of the world and the like, but this isn't something that I spent a great deal of time on. But I guarantee, after 2 years of being on this beat, as it were, twice a week for on the regular, and then the rest of the study I do, that I feel like, and it's sad that I could school any person that speaks on the issue, um, on any of the major networks, just from my experience dealing with the issue for as
Yeah,
heavily as I have for this long. And that's a shame, because there should be more
yeah,
people,
it's not okay.
right, that can pick that up. So I'm proud to do it, but it's a little aggravating that it's
Yeah,
not there.
why
So
why
that, yeah,
why should we have to be the ones picking up the
right.
slack? I mean, they should have Russia experts.
Mm-hmm.
They don't. They don't.
Nope.
I challenge any network to show me, more than just a cursory amount of experts on this part of the world.
Yeah.
Obviously there are people, and I'm not going to discredit the
Yeah.
entire industry, but it's woefully insufficient. We are
Mm-hmm.
not being served well by our media when it comes to this war.
Mm-hmm.
They're not doing anything more in depth than the bang bang up at the front
Right.
lines, or the refugee camps, or the internally displaced people, or I mean, it's very superficial, this coverage that
Mm-hmm.
we're getting in the West, and in particular in America, um, with some notable, obviously, exceptions, but we
Yeah.
need to step it up,
Yeah.
because the fact that Johnson can hold this place hostage the way he is, the fact that there are people just regurgitating, Kremlin talking points without any sense of
Shame.
reflection. I mean, there no
Yeah.
shame, no reflection, no pushback. They just get these talking points
Mm-hmm.
delivered to them, originating clearly from the Kremlin or
Mm-hmm.
from the GRU, the Russian intelligence. They're almost parroting it for word. Oh, Russia, Ukraine can never win this war, so we need to, force them to the table. Well, no, why don't you force Russia to the table?
Right, exactly.
It's
Yeah,
it's
one of the ways you could force Russia to the table, because they're the aggressors in this situation, is to supply Ukraine with everything they could possibly need. You are not going to force the Ukrainians to the table by pantsing them in front of their sexual assaulter.
no,
That's not how it works, and nor should it work. And the idea that you would even
no.
hope that it does is a moral failing. So, anyways, I appreciate you sticking
Anyway,
around for a little bit of
sorry
extra
for the
time.
technical problems at
That's
the
okay.
start there. I
We
don't
got
know
to do a
what's
little
up with my
extra time in
computer.
the end of it or whatever. And I appreciate you, brother. We'll see you on Saturday.
Yes, you will.
Yeah,
I'll see
it's
if I can fix my computer problems,
I will be doing
whatever
my
that
show
was.
from Dallas, Texas, where I'll be playing at
Well, yeah.
the Grapevine at the Gaylord Hotel. I insist, and which is one of our recurring gigs, it seems, and it's going to be a great time. Anybody in that area, and also Las Vegas, a week from let's see, what is it? Saturday the 11th. I'll announce it later today, because we have a gig coming up in Vegas where we're not opening for someone big, but we're playing after them, which is weird, but okay. Anyways, much love, brother. Stay safe,
All right,
and
man.
good luck with
Thanks
that.
to
And
everybody.
I look forward to being a guest on the podcast at some point. And
Yeah,
I look
absolutely.
forward to the questions that your chat has for me one day.
All
Thanks so
right.
much, brother. All right.
All right, man.
Cheers. Be
Take
safe.
care. We'll see you.
Okay, see
All
ya.
right.
There he
Bye.
is. Ladies and gentlemen, Philip Bittner. Give it up. All right. All right. There he goes. Excellent. And close both windows, you maniac. I think I figured out why the director's opening thing was still in there. Let's see. Let's see if I hang him up. Okay, and maybe if I do it on my end, then it should be fine. Okay. Now, that said, NATO has no NATO has no NATO buffers. Game over. Yeah, well, again, they don't need them. They're not attacking anybody. They don't have anything. They don't have any problem with from NATO. Okay, real quick before we move on, if I may, ladies and gentlemen, this is my phone. That's my boy eating spaghetti. There's a picture on the phone, and this is me calling the speaker's office. Hi, I'm calling to encourage the speaker to bring the border bill to the floor, the Ukraine funding bill to the floor, and to stop any efforts by other House Republicans to limit women's right to choose. And this will be affecting how I vote and everyone around me votes in November, hands down. I find it morally offensive and disgusting. Hello? Did she hang up on me? Are you there? Well, look at that. All right. Well, I said it. We'll call back again later, and I'll call on Friday. Ta-da! So every time it's that easy, 202-225-4000. Please call, and your statement could be that simple. Yeah. Maybe that was one that was closer to him. But anyways, there you go. So I will be calling. I'm going to call again later on today too. But call and you want the border bill brought to the floor. You want to stop any efforts to limit a woman's right to choose. I mean, if this is you again, if this is within your belief system. Here's the thing: if it's not, and you're for all these things, you should call too. That's right. You should actually participate in our fucking democracy. These are your outlets. You don't have to storm up the fucking steps of the Capitol. You can call and write letters like the rest of us, and you can fucking vote. The rest of the time, get on with your goddamn life. You understand? You don't have to threaten violence. It's not going to work anyways. No, blowing up a fucking preschool in the bottom floor of the Oklahoma building or anything similar is not going to change shit. Here's your option. Vote the way you want and figure out a way to articulate your values and ideas in a way that convinces other people, and maybe they'll get on board with it. Shit, maybe I'll get on board with it if you figure out a way to say it without being a bigoted monster and it actually makes sense. Just take a chance. But what I tell you that will work eventually. Enough people do it, including you guys. Please. There's the number. I'm going to call on Friday as well. We may even call in on Saturday on the radio. I think we should. That's a good idea. You know what? On the Saturday radio show, because we have a slightly bigger audience because of that than we have on the regular show, I'm going to call in, and I'm going to have Johnny call in on his phone, do the same thing if he wants to, because I'm not going to force anybody to do anything. I have the same rules as a preacher, as far as I'm concerned. I'll talk you into it, but I'm not going to force you to do it. And then we'll encourage other folks to be on. Yeah? Ha-ha! There you go. So there you go. That's the speaker's office, not just his regular office as a congressperson. So anyways, there you go. Love you guys. I'll see you this afternoon for the afternoon show. We have so many clips. I'm all backed up. I got clip constipation. That's terrible. I don't even know why I even put it that way. It's just wrong on so many fronts. That said, and I'll have another couple of little NASA anecdotes from our trip later on, but I won't get too much into it. But I just want to thank Carl for helping us figure out the best way to get, sort of a behind the scenes look. And we did. And there you go. So take care of yourself and take care of somebody else. And wish me luck this weekend too, because Friday I'm doing my regular shows and then I race to the airport, fly to Dallas. Then I'll be doing my radio show from Dallas on Saturday morning. Should be all right. It's been okay in the past. The internet there is fairly good. Then I got a show that night and then I fly back. Twice to Texas and there's fires there. Holy shit. Shall I leave you with this one? 1 second. Where was the video of this? Is it in here? I don't know. They're, like the footage of the fires is gnarly. See if I'll bring it up real quick before I go, because holy smokes. Find it. Give me 1 second. And that's before that. Severe storm, fast spreading wildfire. Here it is. This is crazy. Check this out. 1 second. This is, yeah, here's the, these are the fires crossing the road. And then watch what happens when they yeah, look at this car driving across there, and they got like, there's a little like whirling dervish of fire crossing as it jumps past the, I mean, I don't know who these folks are, but like you can see sparks coming off their car. Look at that shit. Our nation is in hell. This is the brink of the edge of hell. Yeah, it jumps the concrete. Yike. In Canadian Texas? Is that where Ted Cruz lives? I'm kidding. Ouch. So, sorry about those folks. Yeah. Oof. Look at that thing, says footage. Okay. Anyways, let's go back to here. Oh, that's a UFO. Look at that. Look at that. This is a fucking drone, bro. There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the SA. My gosh. And then they all change direction too fast. They're all going against the wind. Wind is 120 knots to the west. Look at that thing, dude. That's this guy. Now I'm wearing a NASA shirt and showing you UFO footage. UFO footage. That's a little too on the nose. Next, I'll bring up masonry, and we're all going to get in trouble. All right. The whole show goes down. All right. I'll talk to you guys later. Take care. See you this afternoon. You're awesome. Stuff. And also, bye. My headset is dying, so I literally can't hear audio anymore because both my earphones are going dead. So I have to charge them. I'll be back later this afternoon. Okay, bye.
Even outside, it's packed.
That like on your way out, it really helps. Thanks so much. Subscribe. We have 66K. Woo-hoo.
Dumps. They call them dumps. Big, massive dumps. I had to beat off dumps.
Here I am like an idiot. Free health care for illegal. Yeah, look. We're going to be appointing very pro-crime judges.
I had to beat off.
Here I am like an idiot.